World of Warcraft has over 20 years of content in the game, and though most of that content is not relevant anymore, old dungeons and raids are. People still run these for a variety of reasons, whether it be achievements, titles, mounts, or even transmog runs. All of these fun things to grind for are what keeps old content alive and relevant. This was especially the case during last month's Collector's Bounty event, where the drop rates on legacy loot were greatly increased, things like legendary weapons, rare mounts, and transmog pieces. Naturally, I was running this content too. The dungeon of choice was Stonecore, trying to get that beautiful, beautiful stone drake of course. And while doing it over and over, I found myself trying to do it as fast as possible. Whether it be buying speed potions from the auction house, switching to a demon hunter to get extra mobility and dashes, I was doing everything to optimize my time to try to get to that loot roll as quick as possible. And then it hit me. Do people speedrun old WoW dungeons? So naturally I went to speedrun.com to check it out, and what I found was a thriving community of runners dedicated to shaving seconds off this legacy content. I was hooked. I needed to learn more. So let's break down how people speedrun this content. There are two main categories, any percent and all bosses. Any percent just requires killing the final boss listed in the dungeon journal. So Gnomeregan, for example, time would start the second you move your character, and it would end the second you kill Thermoplug, not requiring you to kill any other boss in the dungeon. The second category, all bosses, is essentially the same thing except you have to clear every boss rather than just the last one. So back to our Gnomeregan example, you'd have to clear Grubbus, Viscous Fallout, Electrocutioner, Crowd Pummeler, and Thermoplug, with time ending when you killed the last boss. On top of that, people also choose to do full expansion runs, which would mean completing every dungeon in a given expansion, counting travel time between them. So naturally, after going through the rules and everything, I was curious, what does running this actually look like? What are the times like in some of these dungeons? I had to find out. So let's look at and break down an any percent run. So this is Yellow Pineapple's run of Razorfen Downs. And before we even break this down, we need to go over what he's coming into the dungeon with. So let's start with breaking down his character itself. The fastest race is Night Elf due to its passive quickness bonus, increasing move speed by 2%. And the class of choice is Demon Hunter due to its dash and crazy mobility with its double jump, allowing you to get places you probably shouldn't be. Next up, Pineapple's gear. He uses Azurite armor from the Battle for Azeroth expansion that all have the Long Strider effect, which tacks on even more extra movement speed based on your highest secondary stat. For the rest of his gear, I'm not 100% sure what he used, but it's likely just gear that gives him a lot of one secondary stat to buff the Long Strider effect. Enchants wise, for sure his belt is enchanted with the Nitro Boost effect, which allows you to trigger rockets that increase your speed for a short amount of time. For rings, he has the Onyx Amulet from Dragonflight with the Wind Sculpting Stone. This gives stacking move speed, which caps at around 10% extra speed at max stacks. For trinkets, he has the Quick Wit Candlestick Trinket, which, when you activate it, increases your movement speed by 20%. Gear isn't the only thing we need to note. Before moving to start the timer, he ate Bear Tartar, which increases your speed after killing an enemy, and he consumed a charged vial of Alacrity. But with all that out of the way, we can finally dissect the run itself. So, he immediately starts running and pops the Quick Wit Candlestick Trinket, increasing his movement speed by 20%. Then, as soon as he rounds this corner, he pops Nitro Boost to increase it even more. Next, he uses the Demon Hunter's double jump to climb this wall and fell rushes over these vines to clear this poison gas. He then uses the Demon Hunter's Metamorphosis ability to hop across this room, clearing the gas in it. Now, he double jumps and dashes up this wall and begins running across the top of it. Here, he can double jump onto this vine and line himself up with the platform of the final boss. So he pops another Nitro Boost and glides across, killing the second last boss midair with a glaive throw. Then, as the boss plays his death animation, he lines up exactly where the last boss will spawn. Finally, all he has to do is wait a few seconds before casting Blade Dance so he can kill the boss on the frame it spawns, netting a time of 34 seconds. Now, that run is very impressive. It combines a bunch of mechanics released over the years to culminate in a blazing fast run. But what if I told you it gets crazier? Utgarde Pinnacle. It's a fairly long dungeon with multiple floors and some really long hallways. But what if I told you Yellow Pineapple beat it in just 10 seconds? Let's break it down. Also, setup and consumables are the same as the last dungeon, so no need to go over that again. We can just get straight into the run. So, Pineapple begins this run the same as the last one, with a Nitro Boost and a Quick Wit Candlestick. Then, he uses Infernal Strike to fly forward to clear most of the room. He then targets an enemy on the other side of this next room with the Hunt, allowing him to fly towards it, skipping most of this room. Now, pause real quick. Coming up, you'll see the fatal flaw in the dungeon design that allows this to be possible. You see, on a map this dungeon may be massive, but due to make it convenient to run, the final boss is actually right next to the very start of a dungeon. Meaning, if you had a way to get through this door, you could get to the last boss instantly. And Pineapple just might have one. So here's how he does it. He double jumps onto the sledge and infernal strikes between the door and the wall, and then all he has to do is walk forward to clip into the final boss's room. Then he just runs up to the boss, throws a glaive, and kills it, ending the run with a time of 10 seconds and 88 milliseconds. That was impressive, but what if I told you that was one of the more mild skips in a dungeon? They can get way more game breaking. Now I want to show you a really spicy one. Let's take a look at Pineapple's run of Scarlet Monastery. Now, before we get in, there is one new item that's going to appear, and that is the gun shoes, which can only be used outside and make you zoom real fast, but at the cost of making you look kinda silly. But they're going to be important for this next run. But with that out of the way, let's break it down. So, when he starts the run, he doesn't automatically run forward. He turns to his left and uses one carefully placed infernal strike to clip into this wall. Then all it takes is some camera manipulation and a second strike to fly outside of the map. Then, since this technically counts as being outside, he's able to pop the gun shoes and fly towards the cathedral. Now, once he reaches this point, he cancels the gun shoes and gets ready to perform another clip. So, if you infernal strike on this ledge and backflip, you can actually clip straight into the cathedral, skipping the second boss. Then, the rest of this run is pretty straightforward. You just kind of run up and you do this fight. It's honestly pretty funny how most of this run is just waiting for these two to die since they have such long cutscenes.
My champion.
But once they eventually go down, he finishes the run with a time of 44 seconds and 55 milliseconds. Now, there's one thing you're probably thinking. Mana, all these dungeons were made before Demon Hunter's release. Of course they can be broken easily by its mobility. But oh boy, is that not the case. Let's look at one last dungeon by Pineapple, and this one being a newer dungeon. The Motherlode from the Battle for Azeroth expansion. Now this dungeon was made way after Demon Hunter was added, so it should be exploit free, right? Wrong. Let's go through how Pineapple breaks this one. When Pineapple loads in, the first thing he does is use the oddly shaped horn. This summons a temporary mount to move fast towards these mountains. Then he can double jump and fell rush onto the sledge, which gives him height to make this jump to the wall. Once here, he positions himself in this corner and uses the item that makes this skip possible, the Far Water Conch, which allows him to get a view through this wall, and makes it so he can use Metamorphosis through it, allowing himself to clip out of bounds. Then, once he's outside the map, he uses a combination of gliding, fell rushes, and a backflip to coast until he hits water below the map. Here, he pops gun shoes and starts swimming upwards until he pops out right behind the final boss's arena. Then he's just a fell rush away from a straight shot to the boss in a final time of 46 seconds and 30 milliseconds. You know what? After all those runs, I want to try running a dungeon myself, and I'm not just going to attempt to run, I'm going to break one of Pineapple's records. First things first though, I have to get some speed gear together. I was initially going to get long strider gear like Pineapple, but that would require a lot of grinding. You see, to use long strider, you have to have Azerite gear and level a necklace called the Heart of Azeroth, and it takes a long time to do it if you have to do it from zero. So I decided to go with gear of the more buyable variety. So after some research and a trip to the auction house, I decided to go with the Shadebound set from the Shadowlands expansion. Each piece of the set gives you a buff that increases your speed by 42. And then on top of this, I enchanted my cape, chest, bracers, and boots with speed enchants to make us even quicker. One thing I am doing the same as Pineapple though is using the Onyx Amulet with the Wind Sculpting Stone. And for consumables, I just ended up springing for Charged Files of Alacrity, nothing too special. But with our gear broken down, it was time to decide on a dungeon. And I think it'd be kind of fun to do one of the ones we broke down. So let's spin a wheel to decide what dungeon we're gonna run. So there it is, Razorfen Downs will be our dungeon of the day. So I decided to start planning out a route. So I figured the easiest way to show you the route is to just kind of show you it in real time rather than doing it in post. So essentially it would start out with me right at the dungeon's entrance, and instead of running to start the timer, we'd metamorphosis over here. And then instead of going over these vines, we jump up here and we dash up to here, hopefully in one try and not two. Then you go around, you run across this wall, get about here, and you turn, line up with this, dash, glide, and you end up here. And then it's essentially the same route. And then you just run, dash, midair, hit him. And then just like his run, you just kind of wait and then kill that, and then that's the run. But I think if I do that fast enough, it's faster than the way he did it. So next I'm just gonna start doing this over and over again until I can string a run together that's faster. So time to get to work. Oh my god. Ah, damn. So close, man. Oh no.
It's too far away.
Possibly the biggest choke of my life. Oh my god. So yeah, I was struggling to land all the tricks back to back and was very close to giving up, but I decided to give it one more run, and then this happened.
Hero, I require your aid.
It's too far away.
Yes! 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 There we go. I knew it was faster, man. Oh my god. That took so many attempts. That took like 20-something attempts to get right. Oh my god, let's go. And there it was. You're now listening to the world record holder for the fastest Razorfen downs any percent clear. And before I close out, I want to issue a challenge to you, the viewer. Try and beat my Razorfen downs time. Good luck. I just want to say thank you so much for watching this far. I know this is a little bit different from the Dungeon Lock series, but I just kind of wanted to throw a video together on something I've become kind of really interested in over the past few weeks. I also wanted to do this so I could get a video out before I left for vacation, so think of this as something to hold you over till Dungeon Locked episode 4 comes out, which is coming out. I'm partway through it. It's being worked on, don't worry. And of course, just want to give massive shout out again to Yellow Pineapple for letting me show and dissect his runs in this video. I honestly only scratched the surface of crazy skips he's done, so if you're interested in that sort of thing, I would recommend going to his channel, which should be on screen here, and I've linked it in the description. He has a ton of videos of stuff like this, and he's a great runner and makes some great videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.